I'm a big fan of transparency, and something I don't see being tackled on YouTube is how the business of YouTube channels work in photography. And I think it's important to understand so that you understand the media you're consuming. Now, of course, there's many different business models out there, but mine is a particularly standard one. So I'm going to go through it in great detail so you can understand any bias, any rationale as to why we're doing certain things, and all of that. And I think it helps you understand the information you're getting, because YouTube is very much heading into a point where everyone just seems to be creating the same information. You can go and look at 10,000 camera reviews. So let's talk about that, and let's start with reviews. Let's start with reviews, and we're going to talk about when you're kind of being hoodwinked a bit and when you're getting real information. So there are a whole heap of laws that govern what we do. And I'm going to talk about it specifically from the UK because they're slightly different elsewhere, but they kind of all work the same. If I'm reviewing an item, such as this lovely tiny container, which I actually got given as a gift, but it was the nearest item to me. Say this item is being reviewed. If I bought it with my own money and I want to review it, I can do so. I don't have to give any rationale behind it. I can say whatever I want to say about this tiny blue box. That is great. Sometimes companies send you what is called a review item. So say they've sent me this box, but I've got to give it back again. That is a review item. There is a bias there. At this point, you should say, I've been loaned this item and I have to return it. Much like with my Cambo back there somewhere, they've loaned me that item. They've given me something else, but they've loaned me that item. I'll be returning it. You have to be upfront about this. And people are. It's not like they're not. They're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes. There's another type of review though. And that is tiny containers pay me to review this item. At which point there's a few things you have to do. One is there's a box on YouTube you have to tick, and that tells you that there's a paid section within the video. And the other is you have to verbally say, I'm being paid to review this. Now sometimes that payment might not be cash, it might be the item itself. And there's a few things within this. One is, yes, you're being paid with the box. And two is you have to pay tax on the value of the box. Payment in kind is what it's called in the UK. If I get given this box and it's worth £100, I have to pay £20 tax. That's how that works. If I get given this box and I get given £500, I then have to pay tax on the money and the value of this box. Often what we would do as YouTubers is if we're given something we don't really want it, we sell it because we don't want to pay tax on an item we don't want. We'll pay tax on the cash on an item we don't want. That's very common. For small YouTube channels, a lot of them do that. Now there's also endorsements. For example, I am the brand ambassador for Cambo, the camera company, the salon stand company, those people there. I'm endorsed by them. We have a mutual agreement between us where we help each other out. Broncolor, I'm not endorsed by. I spend my hard-earned cash on Broncolor equipment. So when I say something about Broncolor, there is no bias. If I say something about Cambo, there probably is a slight bias, but I bought their equipment before they gave me anything. I chose their cameras and I paid for them. So that's kind of the review area of things. There's a few little extra bits in there. Sometimes we'll have a sponsored video where I'll say today's video is sponsored by da-da-da-da. And they will pay between, well, I guess for a small channel like mine, maybe £500 for a sponsorship slot. Big channels, it'll be tens of thousands of pounds. And, and that is what helps us fund the creation of these. Because whilst I'm sat here making this video, I'm at work. This is work. I love doing it for sure, much like I love being a photographer, but this is work, this is a job, and I need to make money for it. So that is the first part of the business. There's extra bits though. YouTube itself pays me money. Every month I get a check from YouTube, well, it's a bank transfer, I guess, from somewhere in Ireland, which I don't really understand, in British pounds, from dollars, and I get paid. For a channel my size, it's between £1,500 and £2,500 a month. It's not a great deal of money. We make more from sponsored adverts and sponsorships like this video is sponsored by. That tends to be the one I go for because ethically I don't really want to do a paid review. I'd rather do a paid section because who wants to listen to a paid review? Who wants to listen to a review where I've been... Because who wants to listen to a review that I've been paid to do or been given something to do? There's nothing in it for you. So I would rather offer these brands a paid section. And that makes more than the YouTube advertising. YouTube advertising is abysmal. It is such a small amount of money. I don't quite know how they warrant it, but there's also nothing we can do about it. It's just the way it is. Now, the third way a lot of us make money as YouTubers is by selling products. Now, products can be all sorts of things. They can be anything. They can be Lightroom presets, which I don't sell for very many ethical reasons. They can be digital downloads. They can be merch, all sorts of things. For me personally, I sell two different types of products. One which is very profitable and very good, which is digital downloads of workshops where you can buy a workshop to learn something specific about commercial photography. And the other is less business savvy, and that is where you can have a conversation with me and I can help you with your problems. That doesn't really work, but I enjoy doing it. The workshops, I love making them, but once they're made, they're kind of just, they bring in cash, which is obviously the dream, but there's nothing really in it for me like long term. I don't get any extra satisfaction apart from the cash, which of course is great. But I like helping someone, making somebody go from being a new photographer to having an agent shooting a campaign. That gives me a lot of satisfaction. So a lot of my videos that I make might be teasers into the workshops. There will often be a point to them because obviously, like we say, we have to make money doing this. So I might be doing this here and I might give a quick plug going, I've got a whole workshop on how to be a commercial photographer and the business side of it, including an interview with my agent. There's a link below. And that is how I justify this, because YouTube pays so little, it doesn't really make financial sense to do it just for AdSense, but having these digital downloads does. So I offer you something which you can't find elsewhere, which is how a business works from the point of view of a photographer who is signed to an agent and shoots big campaigns. And you get that information at a good price. That's how it works. It's how all business works. I have something you want, it's at a price you would like it at, we have a transaction, and hopefully both parties are happy with that. And that is the whole business of YouTube. Some people have a subscription model, which is where you pay a monthly fee and you can get unlimited access to all the different videos. I've not done that because two reasons. One, I don't like subscriptions myself. I hate having a subscription. I'd rather pay cash money, have it all. I don't like monthly payments. And because of that, I think I can't really sell something I wouldn't buy myself. And two, I don't know how to set it up in the back end of my website, and it was much easier to do it this way. So, and the important thing to note here with my particular YouTube channel, this is a side hustle. This is not my main squeeze. This is not my main full-time job. So of course, this is not the perfect business model for YouTube. There are people who do it far better. There are educators out there who have brilliant business models. There are YouTube channels out there which make insane amounts of money, and I'm very pleased for them. I'm really pleased that they've managed to do something they love and turn it into something extremely profitable. But for me, the thing I love most is the commercial photography, so that's why I spend most of my time and get most of my money. This is great though because I enjoy it. I like teaching. I like showing people what you can't find elsewhere, because I found it so hard to be a commercial photographer. I found it so hard to get into this industry that I want to share it with other people, so you're not, held out by gatekeepers. Of course, some of the information I have, I sell for money, and there's a real ethical issue I have with it, because I want to tell you everything, but if I give it all away for free, I can't afford to tell you everything, because I can't justify taking the time out from my family, from friends, and from my main job. It has to make money for me to give it the time. But then I'm not being... It's a difficult thing. I've never fully worked it out. I have to get money for doing this, but I'd rather give the information for free, because ethically I don't think gatekeeping should exist. I try and do it for a cheap price. Anyway, I also don't want to do other people out of business. Like, there's people who are full-time educators, and if I just go in and give it all away for free, I'm taking away their meal ticket. I don't think that's fair either. It's the same as a photographer doing a shoot for free and then you getting no work. Anyway, my ethics aside that I've still not worked out, one day I probably will, or I'll have a little bit of a crisis and just give everything away. I don't know. We'll see. But there we go. That's how the business of YouTube photography works for the most part.